Hi, this is Catherine and I'm back for my second episode. I just wanted to start by thanking everyone who's watched. I can't believe the amount of people that have watched and the number of comments I've received. I'm absolutely blown away. I really didn't expect anybody to watch at all, so thank you, and I'm so glad. If you're a returning viewer, it's lovely to have you. So let's get started. First, I'm going to share with you some of my current projects. As usual, I will link to the Ravelry project page for you in the notes below. So, I've been making good progress on my socks that I showed you last week. I've called these the bubblegum block socks. So, I've put it on the sock blocker for you to see. I'm knitting these in West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply, which is a very nice yarn. I think it's 75% wool and 25% nylon, so it should be very hard wearing. You've got a 2x2 cuff, the block pattern on the front. I've done a slip stitch heel, and then it's a flap and gusset, and I'm going to knit down and I'm going to do a standard toe. I'm knitting these on 2.5mm needles, and they are Chiaogoos. Really pleased with it so far. So yeah, socks. Next up, I've got to share a new whip with you. I am working on the Mint Tea Sweater, which is a free pattern that you can download from Drops. I showed you this yarn that I got a couple of weeks ago, which is Drops Paris in the shade Petrol. And this is what I've done so far. So we have got the body of a new sweater. It's a shame the colour doesn't really come out on the camera. It's a beautiful blue. So it's worked in the round, and it's actually one of the easiest sweaters that you could knit. I can't believe how easy it is. Once you get over the difficult instructions and you've read it all through, it's so straightforward. So it's worked in the round with the 2x2 rib, and you do a very simple increase, and it makes this beautiful lace shaping on the raglans. And then if I hold it up at the bottom, you've got an eyelet detail here as well, which is lovely. I had a little bit of a problem when I cast off. It says to cast off loosely, which I did, but it was so loose it was flared out. So I undid it all and just cast off with the next size needle up, and it came out much nicer. I should mention the needles that I'm using. So I am using, these are my Zing interchangeables. So it's 4.5mm and 5.5 that you use. And I've started on the sleeve. I think I'm doing it in magic loop, which I don't really like. I'm just wondering whether I could get a circular needle, a fixed circular needle that is sort of the right size for a sleeve. I don't know if anybody knows. I'd be happy to buy some Zings. I think that would be the right size. I could do it on double pointed, but my double pointed Zings are only 15 centimetres, and I think the stitches would slip off, so I'd need to get 20 centimetres. But it's such a quick knit. It's taken me, I cast this on 2 weeks ago, and I think probably by the next episode I'll have a completed jumper. Really love this, and I've tried it on as I go, and the fit is just right. And the Paris, Drops Paris, the stitch definition is absolutely lovely, and the yarn does not split at all, which is fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned as well, it's a simple raglan construction, and it's a really easy pattern. So if anybody wants to give it a go and can't understand the instructions, if you drop me a comment, I can always help you, because it's really easy. It's lovely. I'm really pleased with it. Next up, I have a half finished object to show you. I don't know if that counts as a whip or a finished object. So I am knitting, this is my first test knit. I saw on Instagram that the lovely Victoria at Eden Cottage Yarns was looking for some test knitters. So I signed up, and I am knitting a pair of mitts. So So I have one mitten finished. And as you can see, it's a very lovely lace pattern. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. So you've got the repeat of the lace pattern. I think there's 3 repeats. And it's just a little cuffed mitten with a little cuff here. 2x2 rib. The thumb was a bit fiddly for me on the double pointed needles, but I got there in the end. And I'm just using some old 2.5mm needles that I've had forever. They're just metal needles. I don't think they're any brand. And the yarn I'm using is Drops Fable, and the colourway is grey, and it's colour 114. This is a sock yarn. It's a sock yarn, 4-ply sock yarn. And it's actually really nice, and it's of course, like all the Drops yarns, really affordable. So the pattern is currently in test. It hasn't been released yet, but once she's released it, I will update my show notes and include the link to it because it's absolutely gorgeous. I think the mitten was designed to go with a shawl in the same pattern that she's designed, because I think it uses, the shawl uses 1 hank and a bit. So I think it's a clever way of using up the leftovers. I think the mitten uses about 30 grams of 4-ply. I really love these, and I can see myself, let's see the plain side as well. I can see myself knitting some more of these. It's really beautiful. So cast on the second one, and hopefully next time I'll be able to show you a complete finished object. Now I really do have a proper finished object to share with you this time. I have finished another shawl. If you watched me last time, you'll know that I quite like shawls. So I think they're really lovely to have on your needles. It's quite nice to have something where you don't have to worry about fitting the fitting. So this is the Valencia shawl. Now I found this pattern in a magazine which we get in the UK called Knit Now, and it was in Knit Now issue number 98. I had a subscription to this magazine for quite a while. It is one of the better knitting magazines, I think. There are quite often things in there that I would like to make. And the designer, her name is Elizabeth Davis de Herreys. I hope I've said that correctly. I'll write it in the notes below. And it's a really lovely shawl. Now it's knitted in Yarn Stories Fine Merino DK, which is a really beautiful soft yarn. And the 3 colourways I used are Thistle, Dove and Lilac. And I wasn't very original because I used the same colours as the designer. I thought they went absolutely beautifully together. So you've got the little eyelet, and then a lot of the detail is like there's moss stitch detailing, which is really, really lovely. And then you've got the moss stitch border. So I'm really pleased with how this came out. Let me see if I can show you. You see? Now, one problem I had with this was the blocking. I blocked it to size and I pinned it out on one side, blocked out perfectly and stretched into shape, but this side I had real trouble getting to the required length. So I don't know if anybody has any suggestions why that might be. I don't know if it's to do with tension. I got there in the end with the blocking. I found it quite hard to get the little point at the end. Can you see? It's not quite pointy, and I think that's because I just couldn't stretch it any further. Let's put it on for you so you can see what it looks like. So yeah, you can sort of wear it in this kerchief style with the ends tucked under. Yep, there we are. I love it. Beautiful. What do you think? It's a really lovely pattern, and I think the colour combinations go really well. So What do you think? Take that off, it's a bit warmer today. Oh, I didn't mention to you what I'm wearing now. This is a jumper that I made probably 3 or 4 years ago. So it's worn really, really well. I've got the book here. This is a book called Woolrich Aaron, published by Serdar. Okay. And you've got a short version here, which I really like actually, with the roll neck. And you've got the version I made, which is the longer length. Now, I didn't use the suggested yarn. I used some James C. Brett yarn. I haven't written it down, but I'll link to my project page. It's a wool alpaca mix and it's ever so warm. But this is a book I should actually revisit maybe, because it does have some really, really lovely patterns. Quite like the hat. Very nice. Of course, these are winter patterns, so not very seasonal, but this May that we've been having, the weather is terrible. So I've been quite comfortable wearing this jumper today. And you've got a beautiful cable cardigan as well, which I really, really like. So yeah. And as you can see, it's got a raglan construction. I really took my time when I joined these pieces together. I mattress stitched the whole jumper. I think it's knitted in pieces, and then you sew it together and you pick the collar, and you've got these gorgeous, I think they're almost like flames, and they're all perfect. And then when I finished, so they're all facing the same way, but here we've got a mistake. This one is the wrong way. I was so annoyed, but it's just one of those things. And you've got the little short sleeves here. You can roll them up. So cuffed. And I like this as well because it's not blue. So I am trying to change my colour palette maybe. It's interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are on colour palettes. I tend to be drawn to blue, but everything I've been making is blue. So maybe I should make, and I bought some different colours recently. So yeah, I don't know whether you always make pinks or what kind of colours you like, but yeah, but this is one of my favourites. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I'll link to the project below. So the last thing I want to share with you is a nearly finished object. It's knitted, it's sewn together. I just haven't woven the ends in. So yeah, I'm counting it as a finished object. So this is what I was saying about the colours. Actually, this is green, but it's a sort of still a similar shade. Now, this pattern is a Stylecraft pattern. And it's knitted in Stylecraft linen drape. And I know the shade is called Peacock. And it's shade 3905. I bought this yarn in lockdown 1 in 2020. And I've only just sewn it all together. But it's been finished for quite a long time. I am trying to work through some of the projects, so I'm going to have quite a lot to share with you probably, because there's things that I need to finish. So it is a really lovely jumper. It's, again, it's made in pieces and it's sewn together. We've got the raglan construction, the collar picked up, and we have a simple cable down the front, which I really, really like. Beautiful cable. And then the back is plain with the raglan. And the linen drape is a really lovely yarn. It's 70% viscose and 30% linen. But I've got a little bit of a problem with this jumper, which I wanted to talk to you about. Now, I ordered the yarn from the Knitting Network. It was a really good price. It came really quickly, but I didn't even think to check the dye lots. I've never had a problem with yarn online. So what do you think? Can you see? It's dreadful. Only when I was sewing it together did I notice a massive line across the front where the yarn is obviously a different dye lot. So disappointed. I think if it was on the back, maybe nobody would notice, but on the front, it's dreadful. So I just wanted your thoughts. What would happen if I dyed this? Would it be a different colour, like a darker green with silver line? Or would I ruin it? Or would it resolve the problem? Because I'm thinking I could just dye it a dark green. Don't know. What are your thoughts? I don't want to ruin it, but then I don't know how wearable it is with a big colour change. You see, the bottom is this colour and the top is this colour. If you've got an idea, let me know in the comments below. It's a lovely drapey top, perfect for summer. It's going to be cool when you want to put a jumper on because it's linen. But so lesson learned. Online yarns, check the dye lot. So, not made any purchases in the last couple of weeks, but I do have a couple of things to share with you. So I showed you my Drops Muscat that I got, which is a cotton yarn. I said it was 4-ply, but it's actually double knitting. If you watched last time, and I've got 10 balls of this. I've got sweater quantity. I have found a lovely pattern that I want to make. Now this is the Rosebud Parade cardigan. I'll include a proper picture on the screen now, and I think that's going to be really, really nice. Then with my Drops Bell, I'm going to make the pearl string sweater that I showed you last time. So I've got 2 projects lined up already. I'm being very ambitious. I've got a bit of a stash, not massive at all. I see some people's stashes, they're huge. But I thought each episode it might be a good idea to get something from my stash and use it up. I have got 2.5 skeins of this yarn. Okay. This is a worsted weight Cascades yarn 220, and the shade is 8720. I think it was called apple green or sage green. And with 2.5 skeins, I can't make a sweater really, unless it's like something tiny. I don't know, but I thought I would make this pattern, which is the Pine Lake Shawl, which is designed by Jala Spyro. And I think being designed for worsted, this should knit up really quickly. So unless you've got any other suggestions for shawls, I think that's going to be this project, and I'd like to get this started. I've got quite a lot of books, knitting books, and I'm always interested in finding new books. So I thought I might each time share a book that I use or like, see if you're interested. So the first book I bought off my shelf to share with you this week is 99 Step by Methods, Increase and Decrease. And I think this is a really, really good book for knitters. Quite often in knitting patterns, they do not tell you what increase or decrease to use. And I think if you're looking to bring your knitting to the next level, a book like this can be so useful. All the samples show you exactly how to do it. So can you see? So it's really, really useful. So this book is by Judith Durango, and I thoroughly recommend it. Okay. It's really fascinating. If you like things like that, it tells you how to do hundreds of different, well no, it tells you how to do 99 different methods. It helps you make sure your increase and decreases match, whether you want them to lean to the left, lean to the right, or you want them centrally. Now, I recommend that book. Check it out if you're interested. I thought I might also spread a little bit of love, tell you some of the podcasts I've been watching, some of the podcasts that have inspired me to give it a go, or podcasts that I've just been enjoying myself. One of the podcasts I've been watching recently is Caroline's Knits. Caroline is a lovely girl. She's originally Danish and she lives in Scotland with her partner. I like watching her podcast because she just knits really beautiful garments. She's a garment knitter, but also she's using lots of yarns that I've never heard of or ever tried. So it's so interesting for me to see all these different yarns and from a different perspective. So it's great. Another podcast I've discovered recently is Magda's Knits. Now Magda is a Polish girl and she lives in the UK, and her podcast is great. And she shares so much information about the projects that she's working on and all the problems she's had. You know, the problems she's had with her purling style, problems with jumper pilling. It's just really interesting and I love listening to her. Last up, the last podcast I've recently discovered is Lily Kate Makes. And Lily is a young designer and it's so inspiring to me to watch somebody so young, so talented, and the designs that she's making. So she's definitely one to check out as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you've liked the video, it would be great if you could like and subscribe. And it would be lovely to hear from you. I'm trying to reply to everybody who comments. I was just blown away that so many of you left me such lovely comments. Even the little suggestions you made. Look at the camera. It's really hard when you're filming on an iPhone to know where to look. I hope the lighting's okay. I'm set up in my bedroom, so you know, the weather we've got at the moment is so terrible. It rains all the time, so I just thought I'd just try and film. I'd love to hear from you again. And if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Ravelry as Kath Loves Knit. You can find me on Instagram as knitted.by.catherine. I've also got a blog which is knittedbycatherine.com. At the end now, I thought I might insert some footage of my pets for you. I know some of you have commented how lovely they are. So if you're interested in meeting my cats and dogs, then watch on. If not, see you in 2 weeks. And just before you go, again, at the end of my last video, I introduced you to Lyra. Today I have Tildy sleeping in the room with me, so I'm just going to show you Tildy. So if you're not interested, then just switch off now. I know lots of you love meeting my pets. So this is Tildy. Originally Matilda, but Tildy. Now she is my first Bengal that I got. She is what started this all. Isn't she beautiful? I don't know if she wants to stay, but let's just show her to you. Say hello. Now, if you're in the UK and you watch TV, commercial TV, you might have seen an advert for Itch Pet with a Bengal cat. This is my baby in the advert. So yeah, Tildy. And we take Tildy to cat shows and she's a champion. So she's absolutely beautiful. Bye Tildy, say bye. So thank you for watching. See you next time.